Hello, divine creations, divine marvels, children of God. Thank you so much for dropping by this channel. A warm welcome to anyone who's new to this channel. This channel is about the life, work, and teachings of a very special person named Bruno Groening. You can learn more about him in the link that'll be posted below this video. So, the teachings of Bruno Groening. You know, so many things are on my mind this morning. I've been really reflecting deeply on Bruno and his teachings, and one of the big ones is, and I've been sharing about this recently, is Bruno's not here in a body that we know of. Meaning, if we want to understand Bruno's teachings, we need to figure them out for ourselves. How to live them, what he really meant. Yeah, of course it's helpful to watch videos like this. Hopefully that's helpful for you. It's helpful for me to make them. It's my hope that they help people. Talk to other people. But ultimately, Bruno told us adamantly, not to follow other people. So, other people can be a support. They can really be a hindrance too. And, it's so easy for me, and I believe for most human beings, to make religions out of things. And what I mean by that is put them up on an altar and then give your power away. And I've done that with Bruno and his teachings. Like, oh, everything Bruno Groening said is true. And it's not that it's not true, but that attitude can get me and get anyone in trouble. Because then you stop listening to yourself, which is, in my understanding, is really the ultimate thing that Bruno Groening taught, is to listen to God from the inside, right? And so I have, and I've met plenty of people who've put Bruno and his teachings above themselves and above that practice of listening to themselves. It's like, well, Bruno said, like, maybe you're feeling to do something, and you're like, well, Bruno said, blah, 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 so I'm not going to do that. Well, I shared how I had a pretty profound healing and life change through talking about my problems. But I talked about it in a skillful way, but Bruno says not to talk about your problems. Well, what I had to do was to come to understand what he actually meant by that. And my understanding of what he meant by that is, don't unnecessarily dwell on them. Don't unconsciously just repeat them. But through talking about my problems, I had a major, I can't quite call it a healing, but a major shift in my life. Major, huge. I'm going to call it a healing. It was a huge shift. It's so easy to create structures. That's what religion is, right? It's a structure. A true spiritual path is being in communion to God and following God. You might have your own words for it, but something just very pure and direct. Like, I thought about, well, maybe I shouldn't make this video because I'm sitting cross-legged. Like, oh no, maybe I shouldn't make a Bruno Groening video because I don't have my feet flat on the floor. That's religion. I had the inspiration to make this video, and then the thought came, oh, well, you can't do it because you don't have a chair and your feet aren't flat on the floor, on the earth. That's religion. And I don't say that to criticize a particular religion. Right here, right now, what I'm criticizing is the mentality of religion. That following a structure is the way. Bruno himself said it takes so much more than to just say, I believe. You have to live by that belief. And I certainly struggle with that one day at a time. Bruno Groening said everything will be all right. Everything will be all right. That this all evil will be removed from this earth. And, he said it in many different ways. The good will prevail. That's, if any one of us could just believe that one thing, and not believe it, but trust it, like in our bones, in our soul, could absolutely trust that. I think for me, that's what I'm starting to think, well, what is enlightenment, or what is freedom? That's my definition, to just be an absolute trust that everything will be all right. Bruno gave an example. I've said this many times. He's like, you could be on a sinking boat in the middle of the ocean, and if you know who you are and you know what God is for you, you wouldn't have any fear. I'm not there yet. And that's the problem, is that you have people like me and many other people who, we're not Bruno Groening. We're not masters. I don't know anyone who's teaching Bruno Groening's teaching who's actually perfected the teaching, right? So me and other people who are sharing this teaching, we're just doing the best we can. And if we're doing a good job, we're just doing what Bruno Groening did, which is Bruno Groening pointed in a direction. He didn't want to create a religion. He wanted to